why is musicality so important? Why is that important?
Because you need to have a connection with what you're doing. Like you can learn a sequence of moves and steps, but if that's all it is and you don't have a connection to the music, there's no sabor. Like there's no flavor. Like you can learn a step, but you always should have your own flavor, your own style that you put in with it. And when you know the music, it's just a different feel when you're dancing, you know? Like, you know.
All right. So, hey, I am now on the line with a Miss LaTosha Mullins, who is a bachata dancer and instructor currently living in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. If I'm not mistaken, you currently manage the Facebook page for the Level Bachata. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So if I'm not mistaken, born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, grew up in Zachary, Louisiana. Is that correct?
That is also correct.
How are you doing today, Miss Natasha?
I'm doing well. How are you today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm very excited I get the opportunity to speak with you. I really appreciate you taking time out to talk to me.
Thank you.
So, were you were you dancing at all from, I guess, Zachary to when you got to college? Are you dancing at all between those periods?
No, I'm late to the game. Like
Okay, okay.
I didn't discover dancing until 2008.
Okay, shucks.
Yeah. So I was at an open mic night actually doing poetry. And
Ah,
somebody after, said, hey, would you mind doing poetry at this other club? Because they did variety nights. And she was like, we do this on this night, this on that night, Latin night on Friday. And I was like, what? Latin night in Baton Rouge? Because I didn't even know it existed.
hmm.
So that was kind of my introduction to it. So yeah, before
Okay.
2000, I didn't know anything.
Hey, so let me ask you this then. What were your hobbies when you first got to college? Then were you doing poetry at the time? What else were you doing, if anything?
I played basketball, of course. I
Okay,
didn't
so
play for the type, but I
oh,
played in a
okay. I was I know you played for LSU. That'd have been cool.
girl basketball at the Student Rec Center.
Okay.
And I had some leadership in some of the student organizations and different things like that too.
Okay. Okay, that's awesome. So yes, you're going to LSU. I guess I'm very curious to hear, how was your time at LSU? What was that experience like for you?
First couple of years, well, I cruised,
And what you mean, it
but
was
the
easy
year,
or
yeah, it was easy. Again, that's what I did. I'm an academic, so
okay?
but senior was challenging. Like those classes were intense, especially being a science major, calculus, organic chemistry, and molecular biology, and all that kind of stuff. It was intense.
Especially at a big university, right? Shucks. No,
Yeah.
I get
So
you.
and I was a student worker too, so I spent a lot of time on campus between like student organizations, the classes, and being a student worker. So
Yeah. So yeah, you worked as well as went to school, right?
mhm.
Oh man. And do you think that made it more difficult? Or I guess obviously was that more difficult for you or made it more difficult?
Um, it gave you structure, I guess, because you really
Oh,
had to prioritize your time. But
true.
I'm yeah, it was. I think a lot of people do it more so now, even if it's just to have like your own spending money.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of norm
Okay.
to have a side job when you're in college.
I mean, I had one too, so I definitely understand.
I'm just happy I didn't have to pay for like it wasn't like, oh, I need this to pay for college.
Seriously, as
So
you spoke on that, yeah, that's huge. That's so big. So you have no student debt right now.
nope.
Hey, that's awesome. That's so awesome. Seriously. Um, so you kind of spoke on it. So you said you were doing poetry at one point. I guess how did you get into poetry? How did that come about?
I think I've always written
Okay.
since I was younger. And um, there's a group in Baton Rouge, and I cannot think of the name right now, but Ghost is one of the well-known artists. And I was going to a lot of their events at the time, a lot of spoken word. And one of my friends, her name is Mika, she invited me out to this particular open mic night somewhere at like a culture club or club culture or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm not, because I usually sing background vocals with her, but I was like, I'm gonna do a poem tonight. And so I did a poem, and I guess it was received well because someone approached me afterwards. So, but yeah.
Hey, that's awesome. That's awesome. So yeah, you're getting into poetry and everything, and I guess uh you said you got introduced to Latin night, by chance. Uh were you instantly intrigued by that? You kind of seemed like you were excited when you first heard about it.
I was, because I used to watch the competitions on TV,
Ah,
and that's all I really knew, right? And Mark Anthony and Jennifer Lopez and Enrique Iglesias, like that was like the mainstream people who were well known in the U.S.
exactly.
So watch it on TV, the competitions, and so like, wait, there's a place here that actually does it. So
Hey.
it was, yeah,
Um, so
Hey kid, come here. Hey, if you could like and subscribe for the channel, that'd be amazing. Let's get back to the show.
yeah.
so tell me this then. Who was running that little club you went to, or you said it was a club, right?
It was 600 Main. That was the name of the club.
Okay. It's still going on today or no?
It is not.
Okay. Okay.
You never heard of 600 Main?
I didn't spend a lot of time in Baton Rouge, so no. Is it popular?
It was like the place to be on a Friday night. Yeah.
Really? In Baton Rouge? See, I was in New Orleans, so I never went to Baton Rouge.
When I came to NOLA, I would go to Moe's usually and
Mo
Cafe
Chalet.
East.
I know Mo Chalet and Cafe Easy. Those are like, yeah. Did you ever go to like,
Moe's is still going. Cafe East is no
I,
more.
exactly? I don't think so either. But Mo Chalet is still going. Yeah, Mo Chalet. That's like the Latin club. That's where the real Latins be at. All right. So yeah, but so I was in New Orleans. Did you ever go to like, what is it? I'm blanking on the name of it. Oh my goodness, the
The
dance
Bayou
thing. I mean, Bayou Movimiento. What was that at though? That was at
Dance Quarters.
Bingo dance quarter. Did you ever dance quarters or did you go to the bowling alley? Was it Rocket Bowl?
I never been there. I would go to Dance Quarters for the social, and then Eiffel,
I
like
for
on
yeah,
Wednesday.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was Liquid Rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had them on the show as well.
That's weird.
I'm pretty sure we probably were in the same social at least one point. We had that. I was in New Orleans for 2 years, so I know we had that then. Yeah. So yeah, they actually when I left in July, and I left in August. I left New Orleans in August of 2019, and they had just stopped doing Eiffel 65. They had just stopped it. That was because that was like it was a free venue, free to get in, only place on Wednesday nights you could go to, and it was really nice. It was so cool. So it
I
was
like
yeah, it was really nice. It was super duper unfortunate when they had stopped doing that. Um, but so going back to 2008, you said you got introduced to it. I guess what was that first night like? You said you got introduced to do some poetry there. What was that night like?
the poetry night was it was fun. Like people sang, they like people play instruments. It was just like a fun night of a lot of culture. Like it wasn't your typical like club night because it was
Uh,
an open mic, a lot of talent, and I mean it was just fun. It was a chill night. It was
Okay.
fun. Yeah.
And okay, so
because people were doing like really good performances. You know, it was a fun night. It was a fun
okay.
night.
And so yeah, the night you went, it was just open mic night. So did you go that Friday night to the Latin night or no?
The following Friday, I went to 600 Main. So the poetry was at a different venue.
Oh,
That
okay.
was, but the manager was there, and she was like, "Can you come do this at 600 Main?" Because they have nights there. So I went the following Friday for Latin night. Didn't know anything like salsa, what bachata, who, like I didn't know like the different music styles, just nothing. But if you went from 9 to 10, it was a free class.
Nice.
So I went for the free class, and I kept going for the free class every like Friday, you know. And I practiced at home, and I watched YouTube, and I just went and danced with people that were willing to like help me, even though I was a beginner. You know?
Yeah.
And never had like the studio classes experience. Mine has always been like authentically raw dancing with a Dominican, a Cuban, a Honduran, whatever. Just that was my experience.
Hey.
And over time, I got it.
Hey. Do you remember who was your I guess who was teaching at that time? Do you remember their name?
LSL, and we're friends to this day. He's an older gentleman, but we're like we're like road dogs. If we want
Hey.
to go somewhere, like, hey, you want to go check out this club in Mississippi? Okay. You want a road trip to Houston to check out someplace? And it's like, okay. So he loves it just as much as I do.
Hey.
And like in its pure form, like just in its authentic form, you know? Nothing too structured, just like feeling the music and dancing.
Okay. And so where is he from?
He's from Mexico.
Okay.
He dances everything like salsa, bachata, cumbia, merengue, like cha-cha,
Okay. He
everything.
got the moves then, huh? so so
Not a bachatera, but I dance everything too.
okay. But you say you're a bachatera?
But the bachata is my love.
Okay. So no entiendo. So I guess let me hear about this then. What going back to 2008, what was your beginner stage like in bachata?
A lot of count. Well, just in general counting, like 1, 2, 3, 4, da, 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 da. 1, 2, 3. Like it was a lot of counting and learning and trying to like know when to turn and know when to do this and know when to do that.
Okay.
Frustration was like, I want to dance like her, and I want to be able to do like like, and you're just
Yeah.
doing the basics. All you know is the basics. But just stuck with it, and like I said, a lot of practice at home and just consistency in going to the venue. And
Let me
then
ask you.
I developed like knowledge of the music and the artists, cultures, and that kind of thing. And then it was just like a lifestyle. So
Okay. Let me ask you this real quick though. I'm very curious. You kind of spoke on when you were beginning. You just said, you wanted to dance like, an advanced dancer, someone who you perceive to be, advanced or good. Um, for someone who is a beginner as well, you know what I'm saying? Do you have any advice for them? I guess in regards to patience, anything that you could speak on that, trying to rush the process and be good in one day.
right. My thing is this. I think musicality is underappreciated. So in addition to like styling and being able to look a certain way, I think you have to appreciate the music, because once you have like that connection, like your body will do what it needs to do. The tempo, the instrumentation, like all that kind of stuff. But everything is stepwise. Rome wasn't built in a day. Like that
Okay.
whole. Right? So you just have to say, okay, if this is something that I'm interested in, I can't be like advanced day one. You have to somewhere. Everybody has to start somewhere. So if you're like that hungry for it, then you have to be consistent and you
Yeah.
have to practice in your free time. So you can't just think like, if I go to one Friday event, I'm gonna master it. No, it
Ah,
takes effort. I mean, you have to put in, just like you practice for anything, to learn an instrument, to learn a craft, you know, college. I mean, you have to put the time into it. It's nothing overnight. It's no magic potion.
no,
It's
you're
just not.
right. You're right. Um, I want to speak on something you just said. For beginners and other people as well. Why is musicality so important? Why is that important?
Because you need to have a connection with what you're doing. Like you can learn a sequence of moves and steps, but if that's all it is and you don't have a connection to the music, there's no sabor. Like there's no flavor. Like you can learn a step, but you always should have your own flavor, your own style that you put in with it. And when you know the music, it's just a different feel when you're dancing, you know? Like you know it's gonna build up and it's a pause and
Hey,
whatever. It's a difference than just like, oh, I learned this in class and I'm going through the steps. It's a total different experience when you have a connection with the music and your dance partner too. But the music, you can always dance by yourself, right? So as
hey.
long as you have a connection with the music, like it's just a different experience than just knowing steps.
I mean, I completely agree with that. Because I guess your partner can tell too when you're like, if you're leading it, you know what I'm saying? Or yeah, either one, but your partner can tell when you're like truly in tune with the music, right? And then, like you said, it's a different experience. It gives it that savour. I get you saying that, yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, are you really gonna make me do like this step? Did you not just hear the tempo change? And like we're just
Okay.
and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Hey,
So it matters to me. I listen to Latin music like 24/8.
hey,
So
24/8.
not just
Okay.
bachata, like everything from Maluma to Juanes to, you know, El Gran Combo, like all of it. I love all the Latin music. So
Okay. So let me ask you this now. I can speak on it because I come from a Leeds perspective. I'm very curious. You know, what is it like being a follow? And when that happens, like you just said, when the lead is not connected with the music, what is that like for you? Is that infuriating? Does that make you want to stop dancing or like what?
I'm gonna finish the dance, but I'm gonna be a little bit apprehensive about the next one.
Okay, I understand.
And then just being a lead is one thing, but being a good lead is another thing. And so I feel like if you're a good lead, you're connected with your partner. Like you can kind of, you can kind of test the waters and see like, well, let me do this and see if my person follows. Just try
Right.
that and see if my person follows. And if they can, then you can kind of like, okay, well, they're a little bit more advanced. And if they don't, then you're like, okay, well, let me tone it down. Don't
Hmm.
still try to force, what you know on
Right.
some at that level. But again, the connection with the music, that's my thing.
Is
Because like
that
I said, you can always dance by yourself. And I
hmm
do that sometimes. And it's not to be mean or anything, but if it's a song that I really, really like, I just want that moment.
hey. So wait, so let me ask you this then. Well, are you learning to lead at all or are you strictly a follower?
I lead ladies a little bit.
Okay.
Um, that's my next area. Keep working on. Because a lot of times we never have enough leads.
Come on. Come
Like it's just
on.
a bad thing. And so I've started to lead bachata and merengue, a little bit of salsa, but I'm gonna work on my salsa a lot more because like if nobody else can, I'm like, okay, I can lead a little bit and then
Yeah.
we can, but it's always a shortage of guys.
Come
It
on.
just is.
Oh man. And I would say for you yourself, when you learn to both lead and follow, it only makes you that much better of a dancer. Because
I
you
think
said,
so.
oh, I know so. I know for a fact. I'd say that right now. See, if you continue to lead your dancing, you will be an amazing dancer. I guarantee you. So yeah, so you said you're learning bachata, and so you said you're just going to those weekly classes just once a week and practicing outside of it. Let me ask you this then. The way you learn bachata, or I guess Latin dancing, would you recommend it to other beginners, or do you think there's a better way to do your beginner stage?
Um, that's a tough question. um, my thing is, I don't think there's a right or a wrong way. Um, my word that I use is like authenticity or being like true to the dance as it is to the culture. So, um, like for me, it was just raw. There was no class, where everybody lined up and you did the same thing and someone told you, X, Y, and Z. It was like, okay, this guy is gonna dance with me, but I don't know how to dance salsa. It's okay, I'll show you. Like it was that raw to where you're on the dance floor and you're learning like in the moment.
Yeah.
And go home and be like, okay, let me try to like decipher what I did and all this and that. But for some people, structure may be their thing, and they
Yeah.
may want to break it down, step by step. Um, I don't think it really matters. I just think you should always have like an authentic experience. So you should know, I don't really know how to put it. Like the structured classroom lessons are one thing, and then like kind of the more it's a restaurant, but we're gonna dance after 9, and it's a club with
Yeah.
like it's a different vibe. So I
I,
think a combination of the two is probably the best. So you get a holistic view, right? So you're not just thinking like, oh, this is the only way or that is the only way. So if you do both, then you kind of have more of a holistic view of
nah,
the dancing. I
nah,
don't know. Or
no,
the
I
style.
understand what you're saying, and I think what you're saying though is because I hear people say this as well. Let's say if you're taking classes like in a studio, but
Mm-hmm.
if you only take those classes and you never go social dancing, like you're not gonna be a good social dancer because you're always in that controlled environment. Um, but if you do the classes as well as go social dancing, you become a better dancer because you're learning the technical aspects from the classroom, right, as well as just putting it to use and not having that instructor, give you that structured environment. If you get what I'm saying.
Right. I feel like you learn the base, like your instructor can give you the basics, but you have to add your own sabor. Like you have to make it yours.
Mm-hmm.
So like just learning like basic salsa, right? 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, da da da. Turn 6, 7, right?
Uh-huh.
And really initially it's like, oh, this is what salsa is until I danced with a Cuban. And it was
Completely different. Yeah,
right.
they do casino.
Okay, this is salsa in a line, and now I'm dancing salsa in a circle. Like what? And well, more authentically, it's the salsa in a circle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So had I not like, oh, I'm gonna go to the Latin club or to this Latin restaurant that's gonna turn into a dance spot after 9, and all I had was like, this is what salsa is. I would probably not have known that. Like, oh, there are different styles of
Mm.
this styles of that. So I think both perspectives are good. And like just to be holistic as a well-rounded dancer and have an understanding, do both. And then if you like one over the other, that's where you invest your time, energy, your resources.
Yeah.
But don't have like a misconception of what the dance is and a disconnect to the culture that it's relative to. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I look at it.
No, I understand you. I'm very curious. You said in the beginning, you were learning, you were just dancing with random people, and sometimes you never knew their expertise level, their level they're at. I'm very curious. Two-part question. One, did you ever get discouraged and like want to quit? And two, I guess, what kept you going? Why did you stick with dancing?
I don't think I ever got discouraged. I might have gotten a little frustrated if I
Okay.
couldn't get the step, the move, but never discouraged because it was fun. It was social. I made friends. And like I said, it became like, and I always saw it on TV, and I was like, I want to do that. I want to do that. And like, here's the opportunity, right? So the more friends I developed, the more I learned little by little. It became like, oh, I really, really enjoy this. So I never
Mm.
was like, oh my God, I can't get it. I'm done. Like that was
Yeah.
never, no, that never came up. It was just like, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna practice and I'm gonna practice. Every
That's how you do
opportunity that
it.
I have, I'm gonna go. And like we had other venues here too. So Saturday night we had Los Diablos. And then like I said, we would go to the Mo's. And so like you almost were dancing like 3 or 4 nights a week at some
Nice.
point. But it got to that. And I was there, like,
Hey,
oh,
hey,
where are we
hey.
going? So, and I'm like in my 20s, fresh out of college, like I don't have major responsibilities, right? So I can do this and still get up and
Hey.
go to work in the morning. Kind of thing. So, yeah, I don't think I was ever discouraged. And what was the second part of the question? I forgot.
Asked if you were discouraged and what kept you going? Why you see you started in 2008? Why now in 2019 are you still dancing?
One, I've developed a love for the cultures, especially the Dominican Republic, because that's where bachata is from. I've made like friends that I've had for years and years and years who are from all of these different countries. I've like become an honorary, if you will, right? It's like, oh, you're an honorary Latina, that kind of thing
Yeah,
amongst
okay.
friends. And it's just been a beautiful experience. And dance is a lot of fun. It's a ton of fun, and
It
it should
is.
be. And anytime that is not, then something's wrong.
Something's wrong.
It's a ton of fun. It's a social activity. And like I said, I've made a lot of friends that I've had over the years. Um, it sparked my desire to become fluent in Spanish again. And so I'm trying to be holistic, like the music and the artists and the dancing and the Spanish and like, the cultural awareness, like everything holistically. So it's a lifestyle at this point.
Oh wow, the lifestyle. Okay.
Like I can't just be like, okay, I'm done with nah, like it's like a high, right? You get your fix and then you're like, okay, when we dancing again?
That definitely still, and I agree with that. That's the reason why that's the reason why we do it is because we enjoy it, right? It's fun to us, correct?
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, and if it's not fun, then something's wrong. You need to reevaluate the situation. So
Agree.
I definitely understand that. So I guess so. You said I guess it's back in early 2000 or 2010 maybe 2008. You had a lot of places to go dancing to. I'm very curious. From 2008 to 2019, where we're at now, how has the Latin scene in Baton Rouge? How has it changed? Has it grown? Has it shrunk? How has it changed? What have you seen?
I would say that it has shrunk,
Okay.
unfortunately. Um, so once 600 Main went down and then Los Diablos followed, those are like the main two spots here. So you've had Tropical for a little bit, but they didn't last. And then currently we have El Sitio, which was formerly a couple other things prior, but it's doing well. XBO is trying to come back again. There's Club Madrid and El Patron, and they do okay, but nothing has been like a dominant like 600 Main was here.
Ah.
It's kind of like this one tries, and if it's not successful, then someone else picks up and the same venue essentially, right? But a different name, new
Ah.
ownership kind of thing. So I don't know. So I find myself going other places to dance often. And when I don't feel like traveling and I just want to dance or I just want to be in the environment or hear the music, then I usually go locally here.
Mm.
But it
So,
used
so
to be a very vibrant scene, and it has diminished. So that's
yeah.
part of my effort too, is to try to help rebuild that again, and not just from like a club perspective, but just introducing people who may not otherwise have an opportunity or come across, you know, someone else or some situation to where they're, they know this exists, or they have any other way of being introduced to it. So kind of from a more of a community perspective, like, hey, did y'all know Latin dance was a thing? Because I didn't,
Uh,
right?
yeah.
So, it may be like, oh, this is a fun little social thing to do that can be taken out of the club context or even the social context and like brought down to like the community level where it can be, you know, a learning experience or a teaching experience for like cultural awareness or diversity, as opposed to
Mm,
like, dancing to become a expert or going to the club, but just like an awareness.
okay. And I definitely
Because not
understand that.
everyone has desire, right? Some people don't like to go to the club, and some people don't want to be the next Troy and Georgette.
Yeah.
Like just want to dance, or they just need the introduction to have a social thing, to do. So I think there needs to be a median, where some people are comfortable enough, like, oh, okay, I learned this, and it's a fun thing to do on occasion, or once a month, or twice a month, or whatever, the deal may be.
I definitely understand that. I'm surprised. So do you actually know Troy and Georgette?
I don't know them personally. I
Okay,
know
okay.
of them.
All right.
Yeah.
I,
Like my mentee. I watched her videos so much for the Dominican footwork, for the bachata. Oh man. Yeah.
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. When I was in New Orleans, I was trying so hard to get Troy on, but he's a busy man. He's a busy man. So you kind of spoke on a lot of things right there, but I guess I'm very curious. For someone who might be in your same situation, you know, their their local dancing community is not where they want it to be. Is their only option, I guess, to travel? Is that all that they can do?
I don't think so. I think you work on building what you have here,
Okay.
which is efforts that I'm gonna have for 2020 with a Love of a Top page. Um, like I say, more community impact. So not just dance, right? So what can we do that's beneficial to the community, but also incorporate dance with it?
Mm.
Like that's kind of where my focus is. Um, and then you have to meet people where they are. You have to have a willingness to give of yourself and your time and to help build, and solidify things locally where you are. So I'm hoping to be, an advocate to try
Hey.
to help to, build the scene that we have here. Because it is kind of just like you're either going to the dance classes or you're going to the club.
Okay.
And like there is
Okay.
no median, there's no bridge between the two.
Mm.
And
I
I think
understand
we
that.
should, yeah. It shouldn't have to be one extreme or the other, is what I'm saying.
No, I get
Because
you.
I'm not gonna go to the dance classes because I'm intimidated or it seems a little too structured, right? And then some people are like, I'm not going to the club because it's a club and I don't want to go to the club.
Yeah.
So then you have vision, and we need to bridge that, is what I think.
I understand. I definitely do. I'm very curious. I guess what or when, I guess kind of both, what got you into teaching and when did that start?
That just was kind of a natural transition. It wasn't something that I was looking to do, but just being out and having people say, "Oh, you dance well," and or "I like your style," and that kind of thing. And it just kind of happened organically. Like if I'm
Mm.
somewhere and someone doesn't know the steps, or you can tell they're kind of new, I'll take the time, to be like, okay, this is the basics, and this is the count, and and that kind of thing. And so, um, I go to Lafayette and Lake Charles a lot now to kind of dance with those communities, and I have some friends there. And if am coming, and it's like, oh, you're gonna come and help with the dance before the event, the classes before the event, and I'm like, okay, sure, we'll get there an hour early, that kind of thing. So it's just kind of, it's not anything where I'm like, you know, stern and these are my students and it's just like, if there is an opportunity, then I'm gonna help, basically.
I get
So
you.
everything is usually like free. I don't, make any profits or anything like that. Um, like even at my job, we're gonna do dancing on the docks for 2020, and it's
Nice.
just gonna be like a fun team building, activity for my coworkers. So it's just, to me, I just feel like it's giving people the experience that you enjoy. Like, it's just like, look, I know how much I enjoy Latin dance. I want you to have the same
Hey.
feel, So it's not about like notoriety and all that. It's just like sharing that same happiness with other people.
Okay. I definitely understand that. Um, I was gonna ask you something. Shuck, what was I gonna ask you? I was going to ask you. Oh, I had a good question for you.
You have a
Oh,
lot of
I
questions.
I do, and I just blanked on it. Dang, I blanked on it. Okay, it'll come back to me. So, oh, okay. I think I remember. I got it. I got it now. Cool. um, so you've been dancing for the past, I guess, 11 years now. I'm
Mhm.
very curious to hear. Um, what are well, from all your dancing experience, your whole time in the scene, what are some things that you know now that you wish you had known back in 2008 when you first started?
I guess one of them was Dominican style bachata. Because when I first learned bachata, I knew Romeo Santos and Prince Royce and Toby Love and like Extreme, Bachata Heights, like those type artists. And I thought like that was bachata, right? The
Mm.
bachata. And then it took a little bit down the road to be like, okay, what is this type of bachata? DJ Babyface came, the guy who was like DJing with Romeo Santos at the time. And it was like, oh my God, DJ Babyface is coming to 600 Main. So it was kind of a big deal, right? And he gave out mix CDs, and I listened to the CD, and it was this bachata mix. And it was like, I didn't know at the time, like Yoscar and Luis Vargas and Anthony Santos and like Joe Vedas and like all the bachata legends. And I was like, what is this? What is this kind of bachata? And that's when I was like, the instrumentation and the tempo changes and all that kind of stuff. And that led me to what is it? Was it the Dominican barber shop or something where they were doing the videos,
I'm not
Troy and
sure.
Georgette?
Oh, okay. I'm not
Okay,
even sure. Yeah.
that led, well, you said only you were here for 2 years, I forget. Anyway, so that led to like, oh, the footwork, like that's the part that's missing from the bachata. So it's not just your basic 1 2 3 4 1 2, and it's like, okay, that's what was missing. So that's, I didn't know to begin with. The second thing was, if we mess up, it's usually y'all fault. No, I'm picking.
It's usually the lead's fault. I mean, I keep it. It's always the lead's fault. It's always the lead's fault. So you're not wrong on that.
Because some guys would be like trying to teach you on the dance floor. Like, this is me young, so I don't, like young in my dancing, so I don't know. And I'm like, okay,
Right.
well, maybe I am doing it wrong,
Right.
and off like the count, and we just can't get this, And so over time, it was like, yeah, 90% of the time, it's probably your lead
It's
if
the
you're.
lead's fault. It's always the lead's fault. So you're not wrong. You're definitely right.
But I don't know what I know now. That it's more than dance too. I know that it's more than music. It's more than dance. It's a big part of someone's culture. That part I've learned and I respect.
Mm,
So I think that's the biggest takeaway.
mm.
because I love the dance and I love the music, but it's a big part of culture.
I definitely
So,
understand. I definitely understand. I got two questions I want to ask you. I don't know which one to go with if I should even ask them, but um,
I'll plead the fifth if I want.
well, I mean, it's nothing crazy. I'm just like, I talk to a lot of dancers, and a lot of times they're not from the culture which the dance originates from. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm so curious. I ask people this often. Why is it important to, I guess, to know the culture or respect the culture that the dance comes from? Why is that important? Well, why can't you just learn the dance and leave it at that?
Well, I mean, you answered yourself in your question. It's respect.
Okay,
Like,
that.
no, honestly, at the core, it's respect, right? And I did a video on my page about this a week or so ago. It's, you know how it is in the US. We kind of have a tendency to take from others and manipulate it to our own benefit. I'll just
Right.
say it like, right? And so that happens even in the dance scene, like the over sexualization of kizomba and bachata. And I
Definitely.
went to the weekend in 2016, and nobody dipped and rolled and did any of that to me when I was dancing bachata with them in the DR. And I'm not knocking, people who do that,
Uh-huh.
but for someone who goes to class and that's what they learn, then they think, oh, this is authentically bachata or this is
Right.
authentic samba, and it's not. So I think we have a responsibility to, if we're gonna teach something that's not ours, because it's not, like, you're not Cuban authentically, you're not Puerto Rican, like salsa is not yours if you're a Louisiana American born girl like myself. So I think we have a responsibility to make it known. So if you're gonna say, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna teach salsa, hey, salsa is a Latin dance style, blah, 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 blah. There are multiple styles of salsa, but in this class, we're gonna learn this. You see what
Okay.
I'm saying? Like, I think you have a responsibility to respect the culture in that sense. Um, I've had, read like several articles where people are like, they're disgruntled in the sense of like, why all of this? Like, the girls have to have on like halters and leggings to dance like bachata, and it's just the over sexualization, and even the kizomba and salsa to some degree. And it's like mothers and sons dance bachata together, and
Right.
that.
Right.
So it doesn't have to be like this, overly sensual display. And if it is, at least educate people enough to know, like, hey, in its authenticity, this is what bachata is. This is where it comes from. This is the culture. This is the importance of this dance to this culture and why. So I think if you're gonna, take it and try to make something of it for yourself, especially if you're making a profit on it, you have a responsibility to like inform the people like this is this dance style in its truth. It's just respect. At the bottom line, it's
Bottom
respect.
line. Okay. I definitely understand that.
I mean, just like your podcast, if someone was to, take your thing and like you can be pissed if like, hey, like that's me. What are y'all doing? You see what I'm saying? Like, and they don't give you kudos, right?
Come on now. I definitely understand that. Yeah. So so I guess we kind of switch subject. Well, it's the same thing, but I'm very curious onto the next question. Do you think the reason you enjoy bachata so much is that because you connect with the music so much? Is that what it is?
Yes.
Yeah.
I took it upon myself to like read and do my own homework, right? And then I took it upon myself to go to the Dominican. And then I took it upon myself
The
to
Dominican.
learn who they were. And I took it upon myself to go to the concerts, to meet these artists and to see. And I'm not saying everybody has to take that route, but I'm just saying like these are the steps that I took because of all the dances, of all the music, bachata was like the
Okay.
one. Like it
Okay.
was something about bachata, right? It just stuck to me. So, so I took the initiatives to learn as much as I could, to have the experiences and everything. So like when I'm listening to music, I'm like, oh, that's Luis Vargas. By
Yeah.
sound, like, you know, oh, that's Anthony Santos. Like by sound, like I know the art. If I see them in person, like I know, oh my God,
Yeah.
that's like,
That's awesome.
yeah. So that was my, and that's my way of like showing respect, you know, like not just say, oh yeah, I'm the bachatera. Oh, you are. Who is this artist right now? Oh, I don't know. So
Mm,
how can you say that and you don't even know
right.
like who you don't know who you're dancing to? You know, you don't know that this is Dominican music. Like, so that's my thing, just a respect for the culture and appreciation. And those are my efforts to say like, okay, I'm self-proclaiming the bachatera because not only do I dance, but I went to the country and I know the artists and I know the music and I go and see them. And now I have my page and like I'm trying to do as much as I can, you know, to promote bachata in its authenticity, traditional
Right.
Dominican. So
Okay. That's awesome. I think it's really cool because like I relate to you. I do like salsa, I do like bachata, but for me, kizomba is like that's the one for me. I thoroughly
mhm.
enjoy kizomba, and I think it's because I think it's the music though. You know, like when
It
you
really
enjoy the
is.
music, yeah, when you enjoy the music, that music genre, it makes you enjoy the dance that much more, right?
Right. Cause like
Yeah.
I could put this on that's bachata all day and like, okay, I'm not tired of listening to it. You know, somebody else might be like, oh my God, another bachata on something else. But for me, like, I never get tired of bachata. I mean, just Latin dancing in general. Cause like I said, from salsa to, you know, like Victor Manuel, Frank Ruiz, and El Gran Combo, Grupo Nietzsche, like,
Yeah,
no
you naming all
cero,
these
you know.
artists. Yeah, you really about it.
But that's fiction. And then you have like you know, Omega, Don Omar, Ozuna, J Balvin, like all the artists. So when I say like I genuinely just enjoy the music, like bachata is the number one. Like there's no
Hey.
contest that, but like holistically, I think I have a good roundness of the Latin artists in general.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Let me ask you this real quick. What are some
Yeah.
things? Oh, you go ahead
Uh-huh.
and pull it out. Go ahead and pull it out.
Get my flag.
She got the flag. She got the DR flag. I sure know. Okay. um. So, what are some things that you learned from dancing that you're able to translate to your everyday life?
Working through pain,
Okay.
yes, or difficulties, right? Because some days you get off the dance floor and your legs are like spaghetti.
Hey, come on.
I don't know if you had those experiences, but I mean, like sometimes we go hard, like back to back, and like you feel like you've been at the gym
I said,
because
especially with that Dominican bachata, man, that footwork crazy.
it is. And then punta too,
Okay, see,
from
I
the
don't know Punta.
oh, that's I mean, you move your legs like really fast and a lot. But anyway, just pushing through the pain, metaphorically, right? Pushing through the difficulties.
Mm-hmm, that berry.
Um, and also like diversity to me is a big one. Because a lot of people, when you say Latin dance, the first and only thing that comes to mind is what?
Salsa maybe or what? Or what you mean?
Salsa. And I'm like, do you not understand? Like Latin dance is huge.
It
Like
is.
the Spanish speaking countries there are. So it's just been an opportunity to kind of enlighten other people to be like, yeah, salsa is one of the dance styles, but there's this, and this, and it's from these different countries. So diversity is another key factor. And I think that's one of the things that resonates with me. Because like I'm just a regular smeckler Louisiana girl, but like I've been taken in, like my Latino family, they welcome me with open arms, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I've never felt like, oh, here's the black girl trying to salsa dance, or here's the black girl trying to salsa. It's just been like so well received, and I appreciate that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I don't know what else, but definitely the diversity is something that has been able to translate. And I've always kind of had a diverse group of friends growing up. I mean, Zachary is a predominantly white school, and as well as LSU, so it's never been like an overwhelmingly, African American surrounding from my
Okay.
academics. So it's always kind of been um, different people around. So yeah, that's worked out and translated well.
Okay. Okay. Sure enough. Sure enough. Um, I guess I really wanna maybe just ask you this one last question. Um, can you give me one tip that can make anyone a better dancer immediately?
Well, my thing is the musicality, but just say you don't know the music, right? But you want to be better dance. It's gonna be cliche, but I would just say always be teachable.
Hmm.
And that's
And when
not to like let someone, I don't know, like dominate you or like force their style on you, but always be teachable. Like nobody knows everything,
mm-hmm.
right? I'm like LeBron James, and he's like the GOAT supposedly, but Michael Jordan. Anyway, I love LeBron, but I'm just saying I grew up with Jordan. Um, he still goes to practice, right? His coaches still guide him, like, and he's a phenomenal basketball player, known worldwide, but he's still teachable. Like, even in his greatness, he still has a coach, he still has teammates, he still has trainers and everyone else he's still learning in his career, right? So I would say no matter your level, just still be teachable, because none of us knows every single thing there is to know
Sure
about the
enough.
Latin dance scene. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
that's right. I think you're right. That's definitely right. That's so correct. Always be a student is something that I often hear from, especially instructors. Some instructors they'll get stagnant and they'll stop taking classes themselves. And it's, something I hear from other instructors. Even as an instructor, you're always a student. You're always learning, and that's what separates the good dancers from the stagnant dancers.
I agree.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to forget this. Talk to me about For the Love of Bachata. That's your Facebook page. When did you start that? And is it just to try and grow your community? Is that what you started that for?
So I started that last year around
Okay.
September. It's
Okay.
relatively new. Um, and initially it was a place for me to have like all my dance experiences in one place
Nice.
without it being like my personal page. So that was my initial thing. Like I can post as much bachata and artists and music and videos, and it's in one collective place. So it's kind of developed now into what can I do with this page?
Mm-hmm.
So that ties back to when I was telling you, like, dance will always be like the underlying thing, but what else can I do in addition to dance? And for me, that's the community aspect. So part of it, I'm thinking like free English classes, right? Homework help for parents who don't speak a lot of English that may not be able to help their kids. So just different community things, raising, getting donations, and just different events and activities that can be done to help the community. So I would predominantly say the Spanish speaking community, but really anyone can partake and engage, so that's kind of my focus. I want to still, travel, kind of like you said, if I could travel and record, all the places I go and dance and
Yeah.
artist interviews, all that kind of stuff, that's ideal. But for now, just to keep it, you know, local is going to be more focused on community engagement in addition to the Latin dancing.
Okay.
Kind of tie those two things together. But I'm still going to travel. I'm still going to see artists. I'm still going to go to events. In fact, January coming up is the Amargi Fusion Weekender with Sierra and Ace Fusion. I don't
Okay.
know if you see
I'm
that
not
too late.
familiar.
Um, so it's gonna be in DC, and it's
That's
my
not too
birthday
far from me.
weekend.
You coming up there?
Oh yes,
DC is only like 2 hours from me, so that's not far at all.
but it's basically a love fusion weekend is what they're calling it. But the focus is Dominican style bachata, and there are going to be several instructors and I think two Dominican bachata artists. So it's going to be a good event, I
That's
think.
really cool.
Two
That's
nights
awesome.
dance. So that's it. Like, kind of, this will be a first for me to do the classes, right?
Okay.
So I'm like, this will be interesting, but it's something I want to do since the focus is traditional bachata.
Awesome.
But it'll be a fun weekend experience. But just community engagement, and I'm still gonna travel and try to document my Latin
Hey.
journey
Hey.
and
That's
knock
good.
some more on my list. So you
That's
say the
awesome.
artist, you know the Kazumba artists?
Oh, I mean, definitely, I know some of them. I definitely know some of them. I have a lot of favorites. This guy named Bonga. I believe he's from Angola, man. That dude is amazing. Um, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of artists, man. I'm blinking on the names right now. But Bonga, oh man, that dude is amazing. He has a little band, and oh man, so I could listen to him all day. I could listen to something like that all day.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. um,
Just inquiring.
let me ask you this real quick. How can people reach out to you? How can they get in contact with you?
Um, the number 4, the love of bachata
Okay.
is my page, and my name is who I am on Facebook. LaTosha. I don't have a lot of social media, and I've been fussed at about that. I plan on making a Insta page for the love of bachata.
Hey.
I'm just not on social media personally, but I know it's a tool that can be utilized, for the bachata page. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much it.
I get you. That's perfect. That's perfect. I guess I wanna really just thank you, Natasha, for taking time out to talk to me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course, of course, of course.
Like, just talk about your dance journey. So, and
Yeah.
I'm not in front of the camera.
Now you were fine though. I enjoyed the conversation, and I can really tell how passionate you are about bachata. I definitely see that. That's easy to see.
I mean, do you really see it? Can you? I
um,
am. Like I
yeah.
said, I learned all the dances together, but bachata,
That's your
I don't
heart.
know. It's just in mi alma, in mi corazón.
Hey,
That's
come
my
on now. Entiendo, entiendo. So let me ask you this, is there anything you would like to say before we close this out? Any last words you like to share with the people?
um bachata. No, I'm saying I was like something about bachata. No,
That's fine. That's really fine.
dance. That's my concluding thought. Dance should be a happy place.
Mhm.
That's it.
Hey, I think that's a great way to wrap this episode up. I want to once again thank you so much, Latasha, for taking time out to speak with me. Um, This will do it for this episode of the Two Left Feet Podcast. Thank you so much, LaTosha.
All right. Thank you for having me. Take
Of course. Oh man, of course, of course.
That's all it is. Hey everyone, if you made it this far all the way to the end of the video, I want to thank you so much. My overall goal with making these interviews and these episodes is to give a voice to dancers, to give them a platform to speak their story. So if this is of value to anyone, then that means the world to me. My overall goal is to give value to the dance community. So if you find no value in this, then I urge you to please let me know where I can improve on. I truly want to, just give value and content to the dance community. So please let me know how I can improve, where I'm messing up, because to be 100% honest with you, I'm learning along the way as I do this. I truly am. So to be able to interact with the dance community, it means the world to me, because it gives me feedback and it lets me know what I'm doing right, where I can improve upon, what I'm doing wrong, which I feel like might maybe more important. So please, if you all could comment and just let me know what you think, it means the world to me, because that feedback just helps me improve. So please comment as well. Please like and subscribe. That means a lot as well. But I want to say thank you so much for just watching this, because it means the world to me. I want to take you on this journey of the Two Left Feet Podcast. I'm very excited for it. So once again, thank you so much.